Jim?
Hi, Amanda. Tell me about your husband.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not married, huh?
No. Married to the work.
Married to the drywall
Married
work.
to the work. I'm trying to get through this coffee. This coffee is terrible.
The famous lovebirds, you're still together.
What's next for you?
I haven't got it all figured out.
I kind of want to see your house.
Sorry. It's all here.
This is amazing. It's like a time capsule.
Amanda,
What?
would you like to have some fun tonight?
Honey, I'm home.
Hi, sweetheart.
Look at this meal. You made all this?
Well.
Nope. Nope.
She jealous.
Never really been like it was with us.
It's almost like I don't know who that person was.
I remember her really well.
Things are just kind of changing now. I should be happy.
Do you trust me?
Well, now I'm scared. What are you gonna do?
Dibs on the cream Benz, all black interior. Chrome on the dashboard, boy, y'all inferior. Fast lifestyle, fly boy, America. She asked could she ride, and I said more the merrier.
We weren't very cool.
No, we were deeply uncool.
I love you, Amanda Henderson.
I love you more. How was work for you?
Hi.
Thanks for being here. Congratulations on this movie. I was telling you in the green room, I didn't get to tell you, I thought it was so beautiful, and you brought some tears to my eyes. You made me cry a little bit this morning.
I mean, Sarah
Yeah.
wouldn't know.
Don't high five.
Making them cry on a daily
She doesn't
basis.
watch her work. She wouldn't know.
No, I wouldn't know.
You don't watch your work?
Lately, no. I was listening to it back there, and the movie sounds good.
And she was like, ah, la 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 la. I don't want to
I'm
see.
like,
I don't want to see
"La, la, la,
myself.
la."
I have to say, Sarah, you might be an example of how incredible of a time we live in for actors and actresses in the sense that you can bounce from so many different kinds of projects and not be limited, in the sense that I watched you in this morning, and last night you were chased by a piggy man on American Horror Story, like a completely different kind of piece, the TV show. What's that like for you to sort of go from all these different things all the time?
God, to me, that's just the whole point of doing it. And I feel incredibly lucky that we're in the golden age of television, and for whatever reason, I've been lucky enough to have some opportunities. And
congratulations on your Emmy in
Thank
the golden
you
age of
so
television as well.
You won an
Yeah,
Emmy?
I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to,
What? Sesame Street?
Yes, I won for. I'm Big
Congratulations.
Bird. Did you not know that I was Big Bird? I'm Big Bird.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
IMDb, Mark, come on.
Yeah, IMDb, check it out. Yeah, so this was just a nice change for me where I didn't have to scream. Wasn't being chased by anyone
On screen.
on screen.
Yeah.
You're both so wonderful in the movie. Mark, you wrote this and you brought it to Alex. I would assume who you produced his documentary, Asperger's R Us, a really beautiful documentary that was at South by this past year. What made you bring it to Alex? What was the whole process like there?
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted a director who could be the director of photography as well. Alex and I met on this show, The League, that I acted on forever, and he was one of the main shooters there. And we developed a friendship that was initially based in the fart jokes of The League, but then transcended that into something more sensitive. And so when I came up with this idea, I was like, it's very important that the director of the movie is holding the camera and chasing the story sort of instinctually and filming it himself. And
Sort of like the classic, the way that you kind of started, right?
yeah, I mean, the way that Jay and I started, our first movies were these little $10,000 movies, and Jay would hold the camera, and I would be in them, and we would just kind of muscle the thing together with a cast and crew of like 10 people. And the truth is, I've never been happier creatively than when I was doing that. So Blue Jay is kind of a return to making movies the way I did when I was coming up.
And Alex, what was it like for you? This is your first narrative feature, right?
Yeah, I assume everybody's first feature is just like this, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
A one-on-one with Sarah Paulson and Mark Duplass.
Yeah, no, it was a wonderful, it was a gift. It felt like making a documentary at times, just following these two characters through, their 24-hour journey.
How close to the script did you guys stick? Is this sort of a classic production of yours where it's kind of like you write a pretty detailed script and everybody ends up sort of working off of it?
No. In fact, when Jay and I write and direct, we usually use a traditional script. But a lot of the things I produce, like Your Sister's Sister, for example, we work off of an outline. This was the most skeletal of anything I've ever tried to shoot, and it was terrifying.
Really scary.
And
It really was.
I called Sarah because we were friendly through Amanda Peet, who is they're like soulmates. And Amanda Peet was on my show Togetherness, and so
Woo!
yeah,
Woo!
yeah, woo, woo, woo.
Ow!
And
I'm gonna do that every time Togetherness is mentioned. That's how much I love it.
2 woos and an ow.
Yeah. Woo! Woo! Ow!
Got it. All right. And so I was like, look, I have this movie idea, and when I say it's a movie idea, it's really not an idea at all. It's like, it's going to be something about ex-high school lovers, and we'll shoot it in black and white, and we'll improvise a bunch. Do you want to do it? And she was just like, what? What are you talking about? And I guess she hadn't done a lot of this improvisation
I haven't done any of
before.
it, really. I mean, save the occasional ad lib that you do in a scene. If
Sarah likes her scripts.
I like a script. I like to be able to go, on page 79, I noticed that, which I think if I'm really
And I
honest
took the glasses
yeah,
off.
and
I was
he's
like, you're not going to
"Come
get to
on."
push anything.
I think if I'm really honest, that's a kind of very secure place to work from because you can hide behind a lot of your own characters' wants and wishes, and you can express them with the confidence of a person who really believes them. Whereas when you're doing something that all of that is stripped away, it's a little exposing, can make you sort of vulnerable to, the cracks in your talent, in your personhood, I just said?
Yeah. I heard
I don't know if you all know about a personhood. It is a very special part of the anatomy that...
Sequel to Puss in Boots. That's what I thought it was.
Puss in Boots is a great movie. Wow. I'm going to go, so...
It's your personhood.
Gotta go.
Sarah Paulson, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just think it can be a... am I pink? Am I red right now?
You look great.
Okay,
so
great.
what did you find? I mean, 7 days, right, of
7
a
days.
shoot. What did you find out about yourself while doing this shoot that maybe you didn't expect to see because you hadn't sort of exposed yourself to improvisation so much?
That I really liked doing it, and that it helped to have two people that I trusted, and like Mark was talking about, my best friend spoke so highly of the experience, and just that if you don't do this, you're an idiot, and if you're going to do it ever, these are the people you should do it with. And so I believed her, as I do about most things, and she was really right. And it was scary, but it was worth it.
And it's such a, it's a very, very fun process as much as it is scary, because the way it works is we have this sort of detailed outline of the plotting of the film, right? So none of what happens in the movie is actually improvised, the story points, but how we get there through the dialogue is often improvised. And then what I would do a lot of times is we would shoot the movie in sequential order. And so I would, sit around with everybody at dinner. We'd talk about what we just shot. We'd talk about what we're going to shoot the next day. I would write up some loose pages that night. We wouldn't have time to memorize it. It would act as like a guideline. And you end up kind of discovering the scene while you're shooting it. And the way I kind of talk about it is like, if you look at the way musicians make records, sometimes you write the songs, and then you rehearse them, and then you go into the studio and you record them. And they're clean, and they're beautiful, and they're amazing. Other times you go into the studio with no songs, and you record while you're writing the songs. And they come out rough-hewn and a little crazy, but you can feel that energy inside of them. And you can feel that it's being recorded while it's happening. And that was what we ended up getting for Blue Jay. And that's really what I think makes the movie special.
What helped, too, is when we were in prep, we all had a couple Breakfast Club moments where we all shared personal stories. So I think we all kind of trusted each other. We knew each other's...
vulnerabilities and things. We sat around in a room, the three of us, and Sydney and Zan and Mel, and we all just sort of sat around and just sort of said some of our sort of deepest, darkest things and experiences that we've had in the past. And it was a very immediate, sort of easy thing that happened, which I think very much lent itself to bringing yourself forward in this way, which was.
How often did you find that those things that you talked about in those Breakfast Club meetings sort of ended up coming out in the film, whether either literally or just sort of emotionally they started coming up as you progressed through the story?
A lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
Lot of
And usually it is an emotional thing where we come up with something we're like, oh, that happened to me. Let's switch it around so the person that it happened with doesn't get angry and upset. Like I had like 2 very serious girlfriends in high school and took it all very seriously. And I look back at some of the stuff that I did and said at those times, and I just laugh at myself at how ridiculously romantic and idiotic and stupid it was. And then I immediately regret that I'm not like that anymore because I've lost something.
I had the exact same experience watching the movie during the Annie Lennox moment where I was like, oh, U2's With or Without You was my song with her.
Mm-hmm.
It would not go like this if I bumped into her.
Yeah.
Alex, talk about the look of the film, the black and white and the music and the way that you shot it and cut together. It really does feel like a memory, even though it's supposed to be people sort of talking about memories. It feels like a sad memory. How did you devise that look?
I'm really sad. I'm a sad person. We definitely wanted to strip a lot down to make it about the characters and the story. So I think a lot of the simplicity is what allows the melancholy to shine through. But our composer Julian Wass, he was born for this movie. Like this is totally his wheelhouse, and I think we all had that nostalgic feeling going into it, where we just really wanted to capture, our memories. Yeah.
Mark said a great thing yesterday. You were not here for this, about the color, the black and white. That there are 2 people, 2 colors, bing bong. There you go. Which I like.
It's true. That's great.
At one point you were like, well, I don't know, 2 people, 2 colors.
2 people,
I just thought
2
it was
colors.
really, 2 colors. It was like, yeah, that's a good enough reason. If you ask me.
How
It's
big
like a
was
Forrest Gumpian brilliant moment right there. Oh, 2 people.
2 colors. 2 colors.
Mom always said to do. All right, got
You
it.
can have 2 colors.
No, please keep going with your Forrest Gump impression.
Let's do it, guys.
How big was your crew on this? I found when the movie was over, I was watching the credits just because I was just curious how many people were in that house with you.
It was like 20 people or so, and I guess the way these movies are made is it's almost as much about the process as it is about the product. It's like getting in there together, being with friends. Everybody's cooking together. Directors are also hanging lights, and Sarah is bringing coffee to the crew members. It's like it's a family vibe, and I miss that.
I never did that.
No, I
should have
made
done
you.
that.
I made you.
You made me do that?
Yeah. I was like,
You did the dishes every night.
Yeah, you're like,
Sarah.
I did do the
She
dishes.
did the dishes.
Yeah,
Show them how humble you are,
yeah,
Sarah.
I
Go bring
did
them.
do the dishes.
Guys,
I love to do dishes.
There's an Emmy winner doing the dishes. Look
I
at
hadn't
this.
won the Emmy then at that point. Yeah. I would never do it now.
As
just
soon as you
figured-
shot that show, you won the Emmy. Let's face it.
I
we all
figured you
knew
were
it.
preparing for a character for another movie that was
For a character who
dishwasher.
does a lot of dishes. I do a lot of dishes. I love to do dishes.
I actually like doing dishes as
I
well.
really
It
do.
calms me
It
for some
calms me
reason
down,
in
too.
the house.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
me
know
too.
why. There's a pile of dishes. Let's go.
I know, me too.
Everybody else runs away.
Yeah, me too. I'm not
No, I
afraid
have
of
a
those
stable
dishes.
of people to do dishes for me, but I'm super humble.
A stable of young altruistic filmmakers who do dishes for you in your house. Sorry. That's the Duplass production company. So when you guys are on set and you're improvising, you say you change stories around. Are you afraid at all that there are old high school loves that are going to be able to see some of their pasts in this story?
I think I'm pretty safe. How'd you do? Well, you don't know.
I don't know because I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
But,
I think you're okay.
I don't think I brought a lot of. Are you okay?
How are you doing?
I don't know. There's a couple things. I messaged my
Did you?
ex last night. I was like, hey, so there's this movie that's coming out. I know we haven't talked in a long time. Just so you know, it's not about us. I didn't write it. So
By the way,
moment when
yeah.
As soon as you send that message, she knows that it's all
about her.
Just so you know. You would never have sent that message if it wasn't all about her. Hi, Alex's ex-girlfriend. How's it going?
Did she respond?
let me check. No.
She's just going to go see Blue
Will.
Jay and then
She will, yeah.
she'll come back with it.
Ugh.
So much of the film is about, it doesn't have to be a high school flame. It is just about, what could have been from a love that didn't go on past a certain point. Outside of high school, Sarah, do you have a love or anybody that you're kind of worried that oh shit, I shouldn't have said that?
Not that I'm going to tell you about.
Fair enough.
All
Fair
right.
enough.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't want to do it here on
No, I don't
AOL
wanna
Build
do
for
it.
everyone to
AOL
hear?
Build for everyone
I
to
did
hear.
not want a
No,
specific
I
person.
just
Okay, good.
I think if I nope,
I have one. I really do. I have one, and it's crazy, but like
you think somebody who will see this and see peace? Yes.
he's already seen it. It's my brother.
Oh,
is
your
really
brother.
What it is.
Oh, the head.
Like me and the energy between Jim and Amanda in this is very similar to the energy that Jay and I had when we were in high school together. We were absolutely obsessed with each other. We were soulmates. Anything we did made us laugh, made us cry. I would like take the video camera out and like film Jay running around the block and take my acoustic guitar out and like score it live because I was just obsessed with him and he was obsessed with me and we were so stupid and in love with each other and we work together, we're best friends, and we have lost a lot of that, and we spend a lot of time talking about our relationship is so great. We're so healthy now. We've been to therapy. We know how to communicate. It's wonderful. But that stupid idealism is so gorgeous, and I miss it so much, and I'm always trying to get a piece of that back, and that really is what is at the heart of this movie.
Getting back some of the stupidity of high school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
want it
I
so
completely
bad.
agree with you. It's like it's the most freeing, thrilling thing as an adult when you randomly find it with a person.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, how am I able to act so stupid with you and no one else in the world?
I'm turning 40 this year, and I'm gonna throw a keg party, and I'm gonna get hammered in hopes that, like, after 11 beers, I will be able to recapture some of that energy for like an hour.
Now, there's one other person in the movie. Clue. What is his name?
Gulager.
Clue Gulager.
Who is this? I know he's the guy in the shop, but who is this man? How did you find him?
He's a buddy of mine. He's a big time actor. Back in the day, he was
Well,
in
a
The
name like
Virginian.
that.
He was in the Last Picture Show. He's got an amazing credits list, which would be pretty impressive if you IMDb'd him right now. But he's an old buddy of mine and just a hopeless romantic at heart. And
It was so great having him there that day. It was
He's the spirit animal of this
Yeah.
movie, really. Like, he showed up, I think it was like the end of day 2 or when we were shooting. And you know, the beginning of the movie is a lot of awkward energy between Jim and Amanda, and you have to play that. But it makes things feel awkward and makes us feel, oh God, this feels so gross and weird. And then Clue showed up with this like beautiful, bright romanticism. And Clue is 87 years old, and he has all of the high school stupidity still raging and beautiful inside of him. And we were just around him, and we were just like, oh, we're all doing it wrong, and he's doing it right. And he really like ignited the film, and from there it kind of like took off into what the movie becomes.
Oftentimes people say film crews and film sets are a little like summer camp because it's like 20, 30 days. In this case, 7 days. And in 7 days, the two of you forge like a very real, beautiful connection for the sake of the film. How do you kind of let that go when the
super
movie's
easy.
over?
I have no trouble with that whatsoever.
Sarah weirdly like smells like broccoli.
Yeah,
and I just kind of have to get away from her.
Yeah,
So
broccoli soaked in shallots. You know what I mean? It's it's what I like to wear.
to your point, it is kind of a weird thing to develop like a soulmate-ish type connection, and then you break off and you don't see people for a while. But I know that like whenever I see Sarah, I'll know we have shared this thing, and it's a little bit like being cousins, I guess, in the way that like we're cousins.
Cousins who did it.
Cousins who did it. And
I saw that happen in your
See that?
eyes.
yeah.
Like, I got one now. I got a good one now.
Is she gonna? Oh my God,
She
she's
did it.
going there.
Kissing cousins.
Cousins.
But yeah, we'll see each other, and it's like really exciting to see each other. And I'll be like, but she smells like broccoli, so I can wait another couple of months.
She's
so
got to
it's fine.
go, you know?
And shallots. Let's open it up to the audience for some questions. Who has some? You right here in the front row have a microphone.
Hi, Sarah. Congrats on the Emmy.
Thank you.
It's about time. We've been waiting.
Oh, thank you.
I just have a question about memorizing lines. Like, what techniques do you use, especially with separating all your roles?
I actually use that voice memo thing on the iPhone, and I record all the other characters' dialogue, and then I just listen back to it. And because what I don't like to do is to walk into a room knowing my part, but I've never heard anybody say the lines out loud outside of my own head, and then the first time they speak, I'm liable to sort of not know where I am or what's happening. So if it's not a shock to me, I used to do that with auditioning particularly, because was always a shock to be in your bedroom rehearsing something, and then you go into a room and someone speaks, and you're like, "Ha! I didn't know that was going to happen." And so you're never very good when that's your first reaction. So I tend to do that, and I also make my friends run lines with me over and over and over and over again. And Bradley Whitford once taught me a trick that you do everything in threes. So if you're running lines, just run them 3 times, write them down 3 times. There's something about the repetition of it that just gets into your brain.
Did you just drop Bradley Whitford up here?
I did. I was like,
You just pull.
Yeah.
Of all the people you work
Well,
with, you're
because-
name dropping the Wit?
it's because on the Aaron Sorkin on the Studio 60, there was a lot of dialogue and it was incredibly dense. And Aaron Sorkin does not let you make a word that has been written as a contraction, not a contraction. So you can do a monologue this long and have walked around an entire city block while they filmed without cutting. And if you said would not instead of wouldn't, you're going to have to do the whole thing again. So
Sounds like a joy and a pleasure.
So, well, it's because it's all, very musical to him, and so he really wants that. And so we had someone on set, we would run, and he had just come off The West Wing, so he said, "This is the trick for learning this Sorkinese, and you just do it." And I've just kept doing it.
I have a question. She congratulated you for your Emmy, and you gave this beautiful Emmy speech where you basically said to Marcia Clark, I, as the rest of the culture, didn't recognize who you were at the time that of the trial, and we look back now and kind of realize sort of how horribly we judged you.
Indeed,
and how we
yeah.
judged you in such a sexist manner.
Mm-hmm.
Does that affect the way that you kind of look at the way we judge society or things that happen within society now that you can see
Absolutely.
oh, we were so wrong then, we could be wrong about this right now as well?
Absolutely. I do think that. And I think the only real answer is to sort of define that for yourself about what you're unwilling to stand by and have happen. Like, it's sort of silly, but a couple of times I've been asked to play a leading woman on a television show, and they immediately snap 8-feet-long blonde extensions into my hair as if I cannot be attractive or appealing without this sort of conventional look of hot womanhood. And in the past, I sort of said, okay, yeah, stick them in that. Yeah, I just want to play the part. And now I would probably say, sort of take this as it is, or you're not interested in me. And I never would
You'd
have.
show him your Emmy while you're doing that, too.
But I think it's up to me now to sort of stand up for what I will no longer tolerate in that way. And I think that's something I learned after having played Marcia.
We're really excited because, and we haven't announced this yet, but Sarah is going to be playing Donald Trump. And we're not doing any extensions or anything. She's going to give the same speech. She's going to apologize to him that we all judged him. He's actually a really nice guy.
I'm going to do something with my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show him some of your impressions.
I don't
Go
have
ahead.
it down yet.
You mentioned your hair. I have to say, one thing that I noticed about this film is I loved your hair in the movie. It looked really great. I mean, it's kind of similar to what you have now, but
that was just
shorter
my
right
hair.
now. Yeah.
That was just my hair.
That's kind of how these movies work.
That's how
She
they
walked
did.
in,
I walked in
and
and
we're
was
like,
just do that.
That's great.
Just be like that. Yeah.
Let's use that.
Yeah, which was refreshing because God knows it's better than put a blonde mop piece on your head and yeah.
Yeah, it was adorable.
Yeah,
Worked great.
thanks.
Next
Right,
question.
Alex? Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for being here. Congratulations on the film, looks beautiful. This is another question for Sarah. You've done stage, TV, film, you've done everything. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what it was like to break into the industry, maybe a funny, embarrassing audition story, and if you have any advice for aspiring actors.
So in your question, you just want a funny, embarrassing audition. So.
I don't. There were so many of them that I couldn't possibly. They're all sort of awful. Auditioning can be a kind of hideous experience. Although I remember seeing. Do you ever see that thing Bryan Cranston did where he mentioned his audition sort of not technique, but the reframing he did in his mind of actually taking that opportunity to have 10 minutes. If that's the only acting you get to do for the day, that is really something, and you ought to approach it as your job for the day.
So healthy and
So healthy, and I was like, I never did that. I wonder if that's why it took so long,
Well, it didn't come early for Bryan Cranston
It didn't,
either.
but it didn't, and I think it's something he had to reorient his brain around because you have those early experiences where you have your childhood fantasy that something's just going to happen and it will be great and you'll have everything that you dreamed of, and then slowly as you go along you have one thing that seems like it's going to be that, and then you don't work again for 2 years. That happened to me many times, and you sort of think, I don't know what it's going to take, and your job does become going into these rooms and doing these auditions whether you get them or not. And I loved the idea of changing your perspective about it, that it doesn't become this irritating time suck, but it actually becomes an opportunity for you to go in and make your choices in the scene and present them proudly, and to spend 10 minutes in a room. And it's really hard because sometimes people are eating sandwiches and they don't seem that really interested in you being in there, but it's up to you to do what you want to do in that room. It's not up to you to value or devalue what they're doing, or have it affect your perception of yourself, you know?
That was so embarrassing.
It was so embarrassing. That's an embarrassing story, y'all.
You can also accept that you're a terrible auditioner like me, and then just write your own roles and cast yourself.
There you go.
So.
Dang.
Do you have an embarrassing audition story, Mark? Because you were auditioning a little bit after you kind of broke.
I won't audition anymore because I'm so god awful at it.
It's a real skill, don't you think? It
It's
doesn't
a
have anything to
whole-
do necessarily
It's
with
a
you
whole
being a great actor.
situation that I don't understand what it is, and I do think like there are some people who are really not only good at it, but they have the approach of, I should audition for this because I want them to know exactly what they're getting and choose me based upon that or not, you know. I unfortunately am so bad at it that I will not win in that scenario. So, I mean, I've always just created my own work, and that's what I have. It's what I believe in. There have been occasions where someone has been like, "Would you come in and read for this?" And I've been like, "I'm gonna hold out and hope that they don't get what they want, and then they'll just like imagine I was awesome in the room, and then I'll get the offer, and then like half the time I get it."
But I think that's the same thing. It's like knowing yourself well enough to know what you can, how you can succeed best. And if you know that that's not the thing for you, then create your own stuff. And if you can go in and audition and do what you do, then great. You know.
I think we have time for one more question.
Hi.
Make it good. No, just kidding. No pressure, really, honestly.
But seriously,
make it good.
Well, it actually is an acting question. I often wonder,
got
like,
this, guys.
He's gonna take this one if that's cool.
It's actually for you, Sarah. Did you find it to be like your advantage or disadvantage actually having human contact with Marcia Clark for The People versus OJ?
I didn't have contact with her while we were shooting until we were almost done. So I wanted to meet her right away. I was very much discouraged from doing that for various reasons, all of which made sense to me at the time and do make sense to me now. So I didn't really have any contact with her. I read her book. I read everything I could possibly read about her. And luckily, there was so much footage on the internet that I could watch. So that was really helpful, too. But typically, I would think it would be helpful if you're playing a person, too. Have you ever played a real person?
Nope.
How about you?
Every day.
Every day.
Before I let you go, I do want to say one thing. You were in Carol, which I think is such an amazing film, and I know you won an Emmy for The People versus OJ. But I think Carol should have won every award possible the year that it came out. It was the best movie of that year. I don't have a question. I just wanted to tell you that I love that movie
I like
so
that.
much.
Thank you.
Guys, when does Blue Jay come out?
Funny you should ask. It starts rolling out in limited theaters October 7. It will be available on VOD on October 11. It will be available on Netflix later this year. Come out and see the film Blue Jay. Thank you very much.
Oh, my God.
You guys know that Mark was the voice of Movie Phone? Thank you so much, guys. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.